locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke loves wrestling.
And there is no one that does it better than
your host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hi, this is Earl Oliver from Sully's Vintage Wrestling.
This is Raj Giri with WrestlingInc.com.
This is Sean Reed, boxing writer and undercover low-key wrestling fan, and you're listening to Duke Loves Wrestling. Woo!
Welcome back to the Duke Loves Wrestling podcast, the show about pro wrestling and everything else. It is 2021, and let me tell you something. I just don't know what to say about this year thus far, folks. Incredible. Definitely some highs and some really low lows already. Okay, we're 7 days into the year 2021, and it's just really something to see. And I got to tell you right now, as I record this, and as you're hearing this, we just had a day in which our Capitol building in Washington, D.C. was stormed and essentially attacked by a bunch of domestic terrorists. I mean, there's really nothing else to call these folks. People who, although they claim that they're doing it on behalf of the United States of America, they've made it clear that they are anything but what Americans should be, what we stand for, and quite frankly, it's just disgusting. Disgusting. And I think it would be irresponsible of me to do this episode without acknowledging this terrible thing that's happened, you know? And this is going to be a little different episode than anything you've heard previously because it's going to be a little shorter and it's just one major topic here, okay? We saw on Twitter, WWE Hall of Famer Mick Foley put out a tweet in which he called out the WWE and challenged them essentially to remove Donald Trump from the WWE Hall of Fame. And his reasoning is because, you know, Donald Trump is viewed by many as being responsible for the attack on the Capitol building yesterday here in America. Because Trump told folks during a speech a few hours before the attack happened to go to the Capitol building. He told them to go there, right? People were up in arms because Trump was essentially voted out of office. And mind you, you know, the courts that have taken up the issue of voter fraud and seeing if this was a legal and rightful election, they've all have concluded that, yes, the election stands and Donald Trump lost, Joe Biden won. Joe Biden is going to be our new president-elect of the United States of America. Trump didn't like that. Whipped folks up into a frenzy, and they took it to a whole nother level with explosives, firearms, zip ties. They broke into the Capitol building, destroyed windows. One woman was shot to death. A few other people passed away as well, heart attacks and things of that nature because there was so much going on. There were elected officials who were they had to be taken out through special tunnels. They were concerned for their lives. They didn't know if they were going to die or not. And rightfully so. I mean, there were literally explosives found that some of these terrorists had brought, okay? It would be irresponsible of me not to talk about this, of course, through the lens of pro wrestling. So Mick Foley challenged the WWE to remove Donald Trump from the WWE Hall of Fame. And let me tell you something. I agree with Mick Foley. I believe that Donald Trump has done many things that have made me question why any publicly traded company, including WWE, would ever want to be associated with that person going forward. This guy has stoked the fires of racism, white nationalism, feminism. He's against women. Some of the things that he's said and done, anti-LGBTQ+, including the attack on our trans military folk, embarrassing. Just, you name it. The ugliest stuff that we've seen in modern history coming out of this nation has occurred at the hands of this guy, who just happens to be a WWE Hall of Famer on top of it all. So I'm with Mick Foley. I think this is a great idea. WWE It's time to remove Donald Trump from the WWE Hall of Fame. But I do have some questions. Uh-oh. I do have some questions here. And my first question is, why would we start or why would we end with Donald Trump, right? There's a lot of people in the WWE Hall of Fame. So if we're going to pull some morality move here and clean it up based on our morals, why are we starting with Trump? Or why will we end with Trump? There's a lot of people in the WWE Hall of Fame who, from a moral standpoint, shouldn't be there. Why would the company associate with these folks, right? There are people who are murderers in the WWE Hall of Fame. There are self-described racists in the WWE Hall of Fame. There are proven homophobes in the WWE Hall of Fame. There's even at least one, for lack of a better term, pimp in the WWE Hall of Fame. Why would the WWE want their brand associated with any people who could be described as any of those things? But I got another question. Mick Foley, put some skin in the game, brother. Why would you want to be associated with a fraternity that includes people like that? There is literally a convicted sex offender in the WWE Hall of Fame. At least one. Might be more. Why would you want to be associated with that fraternity, Mick Foley? So yes, I agree with you in calling on WWE to remove Donald Trump, of course. Why not? But my question to you, Mick Foley, and my challenge to you is, remove yourself. Don't be associated with those who you feel, from a moral standpoint, shouldn't be part of that fraternity. Huh? You want to put on the social justice cape? That's great. I'm for it, man. I'm a social justice guy myself. But put some skin in the game, Foley. I'm a proponent for controlling what you can control, right? So you're in the WWE Hall of Fame. Take yourself out. That could be your peaceful protest. That could be your kneeling moment, right? Take yourself out and let the WWE know you don't want to be associated with it until they get the pimps and the murderers and the registered sex offenders and the racists and the homophobes out, right? Domestic abusers, right? Let the WWE know that you don't even want to be associated with the Hall of Fame until they get those folks out. If you're going to wear the social justice cape, then you got to do social justice things, Mick. Don't call out the WWE if you're not going to be the change that you want to see in others, because that's something you can control, right? You can control what you're part of, Mick, right? So let's do it. Come on, big man. Let's do it. Put the skin in the game. Challenging you, huh? You can fall off of a 15-foot ladder or a 15-foot cage, whatever it was, 20-foot cage. Okay, but will you pull yourself out of the WWE Hall of Fame in protest? I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess we're gonna find out. Listen, gone are the days, folks, where these folks out here can co-opt social justice, and you just give them a pat on the back for that, and that's it. No, I'm calling this crap out, man. Because that's my main contention with a lot of these companies and a lot of these folks. I mean, AEW is another prime example of that. They want to take credit for being in with the social justice crowd. But when it comes to putting the skin in the game, there's really no social justice going on, or very little, if any. They want to say we hired LGBTQ+, but you look on AEW Dynamite and you tell me where those folks are at. Well, we finally hired a couple of black male singles wrestlers. Well, you tell me where they are on the card. How many of them are in the title hunt, right? How many women's matches do you see every week on TV, right? They want to get credit, which is just, this is what Foley is doing. Foley wants to get credit. This is my opinion here. And I dare you, Jerry McDevitt, or anyone else for that matter, send me that cease and desist so I can wipe my black natural hind parts with it and tell you, see you in court. I'd love to do that. Because I'd love to cross-examine some of you knuckleheads about some of this stuff. I would love to do it. Put some skin in the game. And stop trying to get points on social justice stuff when you know that you're not about that life. I think it's an embarrassment that Mick Foley's calling out the WWE about the WWE Hall of Fame when he continues to be an active member, and he knows that there's a convicted sex offender. He knows that there's a pimp. He knows that there's domestic abusers. He knows that there's murderers there. His biggest hero in life, the guy who he said made him want to be a wrestler, is a murderer. The courts prove that, right? But Mick Foley wants the WWE to do the work. Well, be the change that you want to see in others, Mick. That's my call. And if you're not going to do that, well, then I got to look at you like funny money, baby. That's what you are. You're looking funny in the light, not looking real to me, brother. Call them out, okay? We got people over the past year who have been exposed for their nonsense. Call them out. These fake feminists, these fake social justice people, these folks who want to gain the points, but when you peel back the layers here, they're funny in the light. And we know in the wrestling industry who they are, okay? There's a lot of you who have been exposed. It's interesting. It's very interesting. You got a guy that Ring of Honor just got rid of who had relations with a minor in the UK, and you got some of you knuckleheads defending that. Well, he didn't know how old she was. Well, she was drunk, but that's okay. I mean, look, man, I'm just telling you right now. Some of you so-called wrestling fans are some pretty reprehensible people. You got strange morals, right? And I'm not sitting here on a high perch, but I'm just letting you know. I'm just calling water wet here. You got strange morals out there. Defending Hulk Hogan, who's a self-admitted racist. That's what he called himself, right? Unprompted, by the way. That's what he called himself. Some of you are just, I don't know, man. I don't know. But Mick Foley wants WWE to be the ones to do something when he himself wants to benefit from being associated with some criminals and just people who, from a moral standpoint, leave a lot to be desired. I just find that interesting. I guess you're all cut from the same cloth in that regard, right? Somebody else has to do the work, not you. That's interesting. And I know I'm going to get some heat for this, and that's all right. I'm okay with that. I could care less. In 2021, we're calling them all out. That's it. That's the way it's going to be. And I apologize to anybody who, you're trying to tune in and try to escape some of these realities, but this ain't the show for you. Duke Loves Rasslin. We listen, man. I've made no bones about the fact that we will talk about the issues facing us today through the lens of pro wrestling, but I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to go along to get along. I'm not going to say what makes everybody else feel better. I'm not going to pretend like I don't see the nonsense going on. No, I don't care. And I'm not interested in a job with WWE or to make this or that wrestler feel, like we're friends or some other garbage like that. No, it doesn't work like that. I could care less. I'm just here to tell the truth, man. So, Mick Foley, there's your challenge. The gauntlet has been set. I would love for you to actually put some skin in the game. What do you call that? Testicular fortitude. I would love to see you do that, because then maybe some of your other brethren would follow suit. And then we know you're serious about this, brother. But right now, I just don't feel it. Not at all. Yeah. Okay, folks. That's something to marinate on. Like I said, this has just been a crazy week. It's been a crazy 24 hours, and there's really not much more. There's no show I want to review. There's no performance I want to talk about. I just, for what? Why? We got lunatics attacking our nation. What do you want to talk about? And I'll say this. I will end with on this note. I hope this retribution group, I hope that they don't do an attack in the next week or two. And, I hope WWE is not going to be that crass. But who knows? I have low expectations at the same time here, because I've seen, over 30 years, almost 40 years of wrestling, and I've seen some of the worst stuff you could ever think of. So what do you do? What do you do? But I just hope that they don't try to capitalize on what's going on right now with that group. Those folks don't deserve that. I feel bad for those kids being in a group like that when this stuff is going on. So we'll see what happens there. But anyway, Mick Foley, you've been challenged. Okay, folks, be kind to yourselves. Be kind to others. Call out the truth. Don't go with what's popular. Don't go with what you feel is going to make other people like you more. Screw that. Call out the truth. That's right.
Mr. Tony Schiavone, and we're desperately out of time on Duke Loves Wrestling.